Alright guys, back at you today with a new video. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're taking a break from the van and we're working on this Beetle engine, but not for a reason that you'd think. So my tow-behind air compressor just went out on me. I had a job I was doing and the engine started to knock pretty bad and the started to seize up. And so my air compressor is toast. It's not worth rebuilding because it's from 1980 and they stopped making parts for it by 40 years ago, just about. And so I need a new air compressor for sandblasting. I got a lot of parts that I still want to sandblast and powder coat. I have the van that I want to sandblast to get into all the seams. So just sandblasting is very useful for me. So I was trying to figure out what the best thing to do is for a sandblaster because I don't want to buy another tow behind. Just because to buy a high quality one is out of my price range for how much I use it. You know, I looked at the Harbor Freight ones that produce about, I think it's 22 CFM or 23 CFM of air, which is really on the low side of what you want for air. So I was just doing some research. I saw some conversions where they converted V8 engines into air compressors. And I thought that was pretty neat because that seemed like that would be pretty serviceable and fairly user-friendly. But then I found this, which is the Volkswagen or Volks air compressor DR3 series. You can see that's their phone number and email right up there. And what they do is they provide a kit to convert a Volks 1600cc dual-port Volkswagen Beetle engine into an air compressor. Now this would work perfect for me because supposedly, according to their paperwork right here, it's a 24 horsepower, 58 CFM. So, you know, somewhere in the high 50s, low 60s. Well, I mean, more air the better, but you really want to do it really well. You really want at least 30 CFM. So this will provide me double that. So it comes with all the parts that you need to do it. It still requires some modification to the engine, and I'll document that as we go along. But essentially what the kit does is it takes this 4-cylinder engine and converts it into a 2-cylinder with 2 cylinders that run it. So the first and the second, that cylinder 2 and 4 run the engine, and 1 and 3 compress the air. Now what's special, there's some homemade kits that have done this before, but what's specifically special about this Dunn-Right or Volks Air kit is that it comes with a patented camshaft, which basically runs the compressed air cylinders on a 2-stroke circuit and the drive circuits on a 4-stroke circuit. So I'll see if I can grab a picture of that. So this is the whole kit right here. Comes with the instructions to do everything. So this is the, I'll pull it out of the bag. So this is the special camshaft that they use. And then what'll happen is that the reason it needs to be a dual port is because we're going to actually lop off and put a blanking plate on this part of the cylinder. And then it has these air filters that are going to go up here to bring the air in. That also has flanges for your exhaust, so you can run that to a tank. Comes with the parts that you need. You need the ability to weld aluminum, which I didn't realize when I got the kit. So I'll have to bring that over to a buddy of mine because I'm not set up to weld aluminum right now. And I think it also uses special lifters. And it also... lost my train of thought. Anyway, but it requires you to basically rebuild the whole engine. Oh, it also comes with a new seal kit for the whole thing. So we're going to start disassembly. I think that's probably just going to be this first video, is disassembling and starting to make some of our preparations, and then we'll have another video talking about or putting it back together. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here and set up a time lapse, but it's just going to be of me taking this engine apart. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright guys, at this point, the instructions say to take some time and get the whole thing degreased and cleaned up. So I found this left over in the shop, so I'm going to try and get this degreased. But first, before I do that, I'm going to try and get a lot of the bulk stuff off. So I'm going to take this screwdriver and just try and scrape a lot of this grease off. I'm not really worrying about covering the port since I'm going to have this whole thing torn apart anyway. So I'll have a chance to clean it out again, but as much as I can avoid it, though, I'm going to try and not get anything in there. But it doesn't look too bad in terms of heavy buildup, but I figure while we're here and since we're going to be dealing with some internals, it's going to be good to get it nice and clean as best as we can. His recommendation was to take it down to a local car wash, which might not be such a bad idea, but I'm a little out in the sticks and I don't really want to travel that far, especially with a greasy engine. So we're just going to do the best that we can, and you know, doesn't have to be perfect. Alright guys, so we got this cleaned up a little bit now. So now we actually start getting into the directions that tell us what to do. So the first step is going to be for us to remove the rocker arm nuts. Take this rocker arm assembly off, and then we're going to start taking these heads off. So we're going to do that on both sides, and then I'll come back to you with the next step.
Okay.
Alright guys, so I got this taken apart. You can still see there's some cross hatching in there. We got a little bit of staining from some rust, but nothing that's a big deal. But I think we're going to probably want to go ahead and rehone this and get a new piston, or I'm sorry, new rings and a new and to have it rehoned. I also noticed that there's some carbon buildup. I don't know. Let me see if I can get this closer. Some carbon buildup on these valves, so I'm going to see what it's going to take to kind of get that a little cleaned up, and so we'll go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to do the other side, and we'll see what the next step is. You know, actually, before we get to the other side, the first things first, we're going to go ahead and get these pistons removed. That's what I saw the directions said to do. So there's a clip on this side. I can't really get a good camera angle of it right now, but after I get this piston removed, I'll show you what that is. See, this is all that it is. Easy enough. All right, so there you go. We got our piston out. So this clip just locks in here, just like so. Can't really get a good light on that, but yep. And I ended up using a 13mm socket to push that out, just because I don't have a better sized punch to do that with. So that seems to have worked pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick this clip right back inside so I don't lose it. And then we'll go ahead and do the other side, or do this piston here, and then we'll flip it around and do the other side. So I'll be back with you after that. All right, guys, so now we've got the pistons and everything totally taken apart, so we're getting ready to split the case now. So the instructions have us start by removing the 6 big bolts, which are shown here as B. So that's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to start by doing them. Then we have to remove all the 13mm bolts, which it shows as C. So here, here. Yeah, here, and up here. And then we have to remove the bottom plug and the oil pump over here. So we're gonna go ahead and start doing that now. And by the time we're done, we should have the crank split, or the case split. That was my holdup right there. All right, guys, so you can see that we got it totally split apart now. So the something that's noteworthy is just to examine these 2 different camshafts. So you can see how this one is doubled on each side. So that, I guess, is what helps it to run on 2-stroke timing instead of the 4-stroke, as you can see. So it comes with new lifters. So these are your lifters that we got to pull out. We're using new ones of those to provide you with them. Looks like we reused the bearings, which all feel like they're in good shape. Don't feel any scratches or nicks or anything in them. As I held up to the camera at one point, but I don't know if I showed it, there were a couple of broken washers sitting at the bottom of I don't know if they're still here or not, but there was a couple of broken washers sitting at the bottom of the engine, so that's never a good sign. But it doesn't look like it caused any damage. All the sealing surfaces still look good and still seems to turn good. So we're going to work on getting this cleaned up, and then we'll probably call that a video for here. We'll call this part 1, which was the disassembly, and we will start putting it back together. Oh, another thing to note is that I have the wrong kind of crankshaft here. So it was saying that I'm going to have to change out the gear pump that we had because this uses the 4 rivets as opposed to this one, which uses 3. So I guess that makes a difference here. I'll show you the next page of the directions, just for anyone who's trying to follow along and is curious. if you order this kit from him, obviously it comes with the directions, but just if you're trying to assess what you're getting into, I think it's helpful to follow along. I would have liked that just before I knew it. So anyhow, this is the type of camshaft that I had, so we have to replace it with a different gear pump, or I'm sorry, oil pump. That's the part number that they suggest you replace it to. So anyhow, I'll get that ordered. And so we're going to have some fabrication work to do, which I'll talk about in the next video. And I'm going to get a bunch of parts ordered. I'm going to do new rings, rehone the cylinders, and there's new push tubes, because my push tubes were a little bent probably from when I picked it up. Or actually, they might have just been old. Who knows? And I've also got fixed. There's a broken exhaust stud on one of these sides. I don't remember where. But I have to try and weld a nut onto there, pull that out, or fix that. And I'm sure there's other things that I'm missing. But anyhow, we'll talk about that as we get into the next video. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and get it ready to put back together. And then the next video, we'll start putting this back together. So, all right, see you guys next time.